Hello and welcome to another Driven Catalyst live stream. It's my favorite day of the week, New Music Friday, and I have some treats today. So first and foremost, we are going to talk about the new Aly and AJ EP, and I actually have some pretty thorough notes. Not to brag, but as I was writing things down, I do feel like I had a fair amount of substantial thoughts. The primary thought being I loved it. I texted in a lot of group chats about it. I put my girlies on it. I have a group chat with my two college roommates, and I just know that I think it's like both of their vibes. And it's also just like so easy to put people onto Aly and AJ, I feel like, because it's such like a heartfelt like nostalgia thing, I think, for me, my generation. As the cowbells and like whoa, potential breakup song culture like has just, I don't know, such a good time. So let's talk about it. I feel like I'm kind of ambling through this. I have Aly and AJ thoughts, and then I also listened to an album that's completely different from a new to me artist called Moom, I think. I've been doing some research on how to say it correctly. They are an Icelandic pop band, and they blew me away. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. I don't have beat for beat notes on that one though. So let's just dive in and we'll talk about some Aly and AJ. I guess disclaimer for this, I have like some thoughts as we get into it that I feel like are going to, for the first time ever, be a little bit not like critical, but like I just want to do the reminder that like there are some things that are like stylistic choices that I feel like I'm going to talk about in regards to like my own personal preferences. And I want to lead with this album is produced, or this EP is produced by Jonathan Wilson of Father John Misty production acclaim. He also did Hunger by Florence and the Machines, and then The Giver from Chappell Roan. So quite literally, who am I? Who do I think I am? Quite literally no one. But I don't know. I just feel like I have some thoughts when we get into the Strawberry Wine cover, and I don't want them to come off like I think I know anything at all, because I know I don't. It's just like a preference thing, and there's some things that I noticed. So we'll get there. I feel like probably disclaiming it made it seem worse than it is. I probably shouldn't have done that, but I don't know. Okay. In the Last Town is the first track on this EP. Let me hit you with the length and all of those stats, because I don't know if anyone cares about them, but I always have fun with it. And some background. Aly and AJ were like icons of the early 2000s. Early 2000s pop. They were on Disney Channel. Whoa. Hey. And they put out an album called Silver Deliverer, which I was not aware of. That came out in May, and this EP is called More Silver. So there is some context I'm missing. I will admit that I didn't realize till now. That being said, I don't feel like the missing context had much impact on my ability to enjoy the album or the EP, because I saved every single track except for Strawberry Wine, which we will get into. But I am like a late to the game country listener, especially as someone who like grew up in Texas. I was raised by two like parents that grew up primarily in like the Midwest. So I didn't really have the like early 2000s riding in mom's car listening to the Chicks experience that a lot of my friends have. And I've very much embraced it as I've like grown into getting to like ride around on road trips with my friends and like get to learn the country music they grew up with and are so nostalgic for. But I didn't really have that, which isn't for lack of having a mom that I feel like likes those vibes a lot. Like, I very much grew up, had cowgirl boots, like, have a mom that is like that is into those vibes. That just wasn't, I guess, the radio music we listened to growing up, which has been fun though, because I've like gotten to learn about it from my friends as an adult, which has been special too. And Strawberry Wine is a deeply, deeply nostalgic song for my college besties that I mentioned. I sent this recommendation in the group chat, and one of them already has listened, and she really liked it. So kind of who am I? Period. Right? Again, I feel like I'm talking about it like I didn't like it, and I did like it. I just have notes, and I feel, I guess, self-conscious about having notes because I don't know. Okay, whatever. In the Last Town is the first track, and oh no, sorry. The Last Town is the first track. I guess I just started to write my notes like in this essay. I will. So Last Town is the first track, and my big note is the build and resolution is so satisfying, and I love the piano. I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I kind of was going in like, okay, like lighthearted. These are early 2000s pop icons. I didn't really expect to like lock in and be like, whoa. This is a very production rich album. Like the songs feel very big and full and beautiful, and like Fleetwood Mackie, maybe. I'm kind of throwing things at the dartboard here. The most I can offer sometimes is to say that I like it and to describe what I'm hearing. But I feel like I'm not totally out of line saying it's a little Fleetwood Mackie. Okay. So second track is Out of My Feelings. I have guitar immediately love written down. Basically any song that starts with good guitar, I always make a note of it. I'm sure you've caught on to that trend if you watch these new Music Fridays. Melody of the chorus is super earwormy. I have written down like it just like I remember trying to like write it out, like describe what I was hearing, but the melody is very like dun, 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 dun. Like this is such a song that I feel like you could listen to on loop and just keep listening to and really enjoy. And then I have Timestamp 310. Guitar solo is a vibe. And then there's like a softness to the vocals. I feel like this album is very dreamy, or the EP. I guess I have homework. I haven't listened to the full album yet. That's embarrassing. The EP is super dreamy, vibey. It's got like the chimey guitar, the floaty, airy vocals, some of the percussion that sort of beats at you, which I guess is like, it makes total sense to me that this is Jonathan Wilson of Hunger from Florence and the Machines. And I think that is a little bit why I'm like wanting to pull like a name like Fleetwood Mac, some of the chimey guitar, the floaty, airy vocals, and sort of the dreamy vibes. But you're still kind of getting like like beat in the chest by it. So fun. I don't know. Like it's one of those things where it's like I'm admitting my limited perspective, I guess, by saying like this is just not necessarily what I was expecting from Aly and AJ, and I'm like thrilled. Like it's phenomenal. Which isn't to say like if we had gotten like a Like Whoa and Potential Breakup song vibe, that would have also been phenomenal. This is just so something else, and in a way that I feel like resonated with me more than it would have been if it had been more of a Potential Breakup song, like Disney Channel throwback pop girlies vibe. So The Deep End is track 3 on this EP. We have a percussive start. I feel like every song had a really strong start, and they all start pretty differently, right? So Out of My Feelings, we have the cool, crisp guitar right out the gate, and I was like, okay, I'm so here for this. The Deep End, we start right off with the drums. We get hit in the chest quick. Couldn't tell you off the top of my head how In the Last Town starts, but I just remember the build of that track for sure. Let's circle back to The Deep End. Timestamp 3 minutes in, the layering is so expansive. I literally just wrote down, whoa. Then at 3:40, spoiler alert, like actually go listen to the track and then come back if you don't want to be spoiled. Because sometimes I feel like, and maybe that's silly to say about music, but sometimes when you listen through the way a song is structured and built, you almost don't want it spoiled. You don't want it described to you before you hear it because it can catch you off guard. I feel like that is the theme of the day, at least for me. Like that's the through line between More Silver and the Moom album I'm going to talk to you about in a bit, is as I was listening through, there are production choices in both that like I was like like it felt like it took the wind out of me in the best way possible. So with that, at 3:40, all the music drops out and we're in this sort of echoey vocal ending dreamscape, and it's so impactful. I really loved it. Okay, now we're gonna talk about Strawberry Wine, and you're gonna learn that I'm really stupid in how I've been doing all this disclaiming because it's a great track. But okay, something I noticed immediately, which is going to be kind of funny because I'm monitoring my own audio right now, and I feel like the thing that I'm describing, I'm hearing in the way my own audio sounds now. And the primary reason I made a note of this is because I talk so often on live streams in regard to music about how I really like it when a song is vocal forward. Like I like the vocals to stand out. I have a hard time when they get washed away by the instrumentals. And with Strawberry Wine, the vocals almost felt a little too forward to me. And what I mean by this is, I guess the limited experience I have mixing my voiceovers and like working on different stuff for Eagle 9 Locked, I have a fair amount of experience, I guess, working with the parametric equalizer. And every single time I mix it, I reach a point where I like the vocal quality. I like the richness that I feel like I'm able to inject into my voice. But there's a point where it's like almost when you're playing with VSCO and you're like filtering an Instagram photo. If you don't have like your screen brightness all the way up or something like that, you can like really fall down the rabbit hole of fine tuning something and then take a step back and go, oh. At least I do that quite a bit when I'm editing voiceover stuff. And what I always tend to do is I play with the equalizer, I add richness to my voice, and then it sits in my forehead. If you're thinking through the way audio sounds and how it's mapped, I guess, and how you hear it, I always feel like once you go a little bit too forward into the richness, it feels like it sits right here at the front of your forehead and you can feel it. And it's almost like when your ears pop. And I feel a little bit of that with the vocals in this. What the effect of it is I feel that sorry, should I just beat up the mic? Make the audio pop while I'm being, I don't know. I'm not trying to be critical, but I guess that's the impact. So what it feels like to me, the impact to me, which I thought was interesting because my friend clocked this too, and she had a totally different takeaway because she liked it a lot. And I do like it a lot too. I guess I noticed this, right? Is it the music and the vocals are less incorporated than I think I would have liked. But the impact of them being less incorporated makes the vocals sit in more of an intimate way with the listener, I think, right? Like it almost makes the instrumental feel like a backing track, and like it's like our nostalgic pop girlies Allie and AJ singing this iconic country song to us. So it kind of makes the whole thing feel a bit more intimate in a cool way. Um, but I guess, yeah, as I was like kind of working through what I was hearing and the effect of it, those are the things that I noticed. Okay, and then I also have a note. At timestamp 1 minute, I was getting a little greedy. Like, I wanted harmonies pretty immediately. Um, the point in the track where the harmonies do start felt like a little strange to me. And I think, again, though, that does kind of contribute to more of this feeling too of like, okay, it's Ali and AJ open mic type thing, like they're each letting each other have their moment type thing, I guess. This isn't, I guess, a heavily produced cover of Strawberry Wine that's got layered full sound production. It feels much more like it could have been from like a Vivo Live type thing, or like I'm saying, like a quaint open mic, and it does feel like very intimate in nature, which I think fits and is very sweet for Strawberry Wine specifically, especially because I have the personal context of like both of my best friends having such like a place in their heart for Strawberry Wine and like growing up with it in a way that like I don't have and I wouldn't have realized. And so I can assume that it kind of holds a similar place. I'm sure like that's why when you're covering such an iconic song, like that's why you're covering it. It's because it has sort of that foothold in your life. And so then in that case, I think these production choices are like very savvy and sweet. And I feel like, I don't know, that's like super cool if that was intended. Well, and I assume because it's based on the producer that it's absolutely intended. Because once again, who am I? And like, I don't know. I could be totally off base, whatever. But those are the things I noticed, and I really, really like this EP. And I'm really, really thrilled about Ali and AJ putting out such great music. New music for us, such great new music for us. It's always been great. And I'm excited to listen to Silver Deliverer. I cannot believe I'm so many months late to the game. They actually have quite a discography. I do remember when A Touch of the Beat gets you up on your feet, gets you out, and then into the sun. Hey, longest album name ever. Award goes to them. I remember this when this came out, and I recognize this album art, but I haven't listened to it. So I have quite a bit of homework to do, I think, in regard to Ali and AJ. But it's just like, I don't know, something so sweet and special about seeing like nostalgic pop icon girlies from Disney Channel and growing up, like just doing so well. Like just as I'm clicking through Spotify, like I'm seeing Demi Lovato, I'm seeing Hilary Duff. Crazy, I blanked on Hilary Duff's name for a second. I feel like we literally have to take a moment to hold space for Hilary Duff, a queen. Yeah, I don't know. It just makes me feel so warm and fuzzy. So stoked. I'm gonna be real. I kind of was just like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know what to expect from Ali and AJ, but it piqued my interest, and I'm thrilled at how much I love it and how excited I am to listen to the rest of their discography. It started as just sort of a half-hearted interest, and now it's going to be in regular rotation on my listening, so I'm so excited about that. And because I feel like it fits into thematically what we've been talking about, there is another single that's not a new release, but it's from Alison Pontier, which is an artist I've talked about at great length because I am a big fan, Texas girl, or Texas artist. And Karaoke Queen is a track from Alison Pontier that has been out for a bit, and it wasn't until I saw her live that I was like, whoa. I like knew this song was good, but this song is like hitting me hard right now. Something about it is just so beautiful. So I don't know. I kind of just wanted to shout that out, say I've been listening to it and loving it. It is Karaoke Queen from Alison Pontier. That is Ponthier. And that came out in March. So, newer track from Alison is Handsome, which I had talked about before. Absolutely stream that. And then I would be remiss to not mention Jesus and John Wayne as well, because that song just like that. I can't listen to it without tearing up, at least. At a minimum, I'm tearing up. At worst, I'll be honest, like my breathing patterns change. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and be sobbing a little bit, like whatever. I'm trying to be chill about it. But okay. So that is my little commercial break for Alison Pontier, I guess. Gotta shout out Texas artists. Lots of love. Okay, let's transition to Icelandic pop. Does that sound good? I have the answer for you. It sounds great. I every so often I'll look at Album of the Year, the website that I like to look at new releases on, and I will judge a book by its cover. I'll find album art that I like, or a name that piques my interest, and I'll just look it up. I'll do a little wine tasting of sorts, but with music. And this album is called History of Silence, and it's sort of a cool, the album cover looks woven, or like yarn, the rug thing. When people make rugs, that process, it looks like someone did that. And I've done extensive research and learned that Icelandic pronunciation guides look insane, to me at least. I, who is not yet so worldly enough to understand. I have a background in radio, so I am like borderline familiar with like phonetic pronouncers, but I was like looking at it, and then we go we've got 3 letters in the name, right? But the phonetic pronouncer for the Icelandic word, which it's actually not a word. I looked into that too. It was intended by the artist to be more of a sound. So I do think it's moom. But the phonetic pronouncer is like oh. I'll look it up. I'll spell it out for you. Like, cause it's like OOJM. Oh yes. Okay. So MIOOYYUUJM. So when I look at that, I think Mume. Yeah, that feels like, I hate to brag, but like that feels pretty good. Like I think that feels right to me. But when I've looked it up, it also seems like it's meant to be moom. So whichever it is, the music they're making is ridiculous. So phenomenal. Ridiculous, parentheses, positive. First track, Miss You Dance, is probably my favorite track, but Mild at Heart, and then hold on, Avignon, I think. But like, let's find out what that means. Oh, it's a commune in France. Am I saying it right? Did I try? Did I say it correctly? Yeah, that track too pretty much blew me away. Only Songbirds Have a Sweet Tooth. Let's actually just go through the track list. Miss You Dance, Kill the Light, Mild at Heart, Avignon, Only Songbirds Have a Sweet Tooth, Our Love is Distorting, A Dry Heart Needs No Winding, and I Like to Shake. What? Those are phenomenal track names. And then this is just one of the so there are parts of Miss You Dance that in the way that in House in Nebraska from Ethel Cain, there are moments where it's like the piano plays and it's we're on the deeper keys, the lower notes, and I don't know, the quality of the piano feels like it hits the note sharp, but it's almost like the point of the note playing is less about the sharp hit and more about the drone. there's moments where that happens and it feels like it shifts between the emphasis being on like the sharp note hit and then the drone sort of dissipating out. And like, I don't know, that's just so interesting. There's like a fair amount of synthesizer, I think, throughout the album. It's just, once again, like some of the most interesting production choices I've ever heard. I was so endlessly fascinated by everything I heard. And then there's big orchestral moments too. Like so Josh Pike, let me see, am I doing that right? Yes. The Summer by Josh Pike, but with, I think it's the Australian or the Sydney Orchestra, live at the Sydney Opera House. Yeah, the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. The fullness of that, what's the word I'm looking for? The spectacle, almost. It's like totally audible. Like it's a totally audio phenomenon, right? Like I'm just listening to something, and yet the word spectacle feels apt. You can hear the largeness of the moment sometimes. That is like a pretty prevalent thing throughout. Like I would say it waxes and wanes too across this album. Also just like being such a well produced, I think electronic and experimental are two words that are associated with the band when you look it up. But being like that being the vibe, and then the album being called History of Silence. Something about that. It's profound. It just is profound. And I really liked it. I cannot recommend that album enough. This new album from Mume, History of Silence. And I'm gonna have to dive in, I think. So we've got quite a few other, looks like a lot of their album artwork is, oh, okay, no, these are the singles released in the lead up to this album. So all of the singles have thumbnails that are like woven or rug tufted. Tufted is the word. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like doing a little overview. We've got Smell Memory is the name, Random Summer, Yesterday Was Dramatic, Today Is Okay, When Girls Collide, Smile Wound, Tooth Wheels. Like, I'm gonna be so real with you. The second we start getting into names like this, like Tooth Wheels, what on earth does that mean? I'm so interested and intrigued and excited. That's how I name playlists a lot of times. I don't mean it in regards to anything other than my playlist names, but I am likening it to it, so it does feel like a crazy, it feels like they're getting kind of a sideswipe. But like, I like naming playlists dumb things that don't make sense. And I'm not saying that these track names or album names are dumb things that don't make sense, but they're random and obscure. I guess random and obscure is the nicer way to say it. And I feel like that's I think that's a culture that a lot of people enjoy. It's like very much the improv culture of like, we're Left Shoe and we need a one-word suggestion from the audience. Like naming something totally random. Or contextless. I feel like that's very much in the indie singer-songwriter space too, where it's like, we're Toothache and we're gonna play you some songs tonight, you know? I love that vibe. And I know a lot of other people do too. So I'm looking at these track names and other albums that I have to listen to from this artist, and I'm stoked. Oh, Finally We Are No One. Are you kidding me? That's the name of their 2002 album. The Land Between Solar Systems. I Can't Feel My Hand Anymore. It's Alright. Sleep Still. Like, that's another thing. I love a long track name or a long album name. I know Ali and AJ just got some shade from me for their long album name, but no, I like. That's the thing. I feel like I'm throwing a little bit of shade, but it's not coming from a place of genuine. Like, I'm not knocking it. It's coming from a place of, like, I know your vibe intimately. Like, I know I'm picking up what you're putting down by putting out a ridiculously long album name. And I'm loving every minute of it. That's what I mean when I sort of sometimes tease about these things. Yeah. Those are the two biggies for the day. New Ali and AJ and new artist, new album from that artist, Moom. I guess that's all she wrote. That me being she and wrote being babbled on about on live stream. Cannot recommend both of these pieces of music enough. And I hope you listen and enjoy. I have the Bandcamp linked for Moom down below. And then I would like to just point you all towards Ali and AJ on Instagram. Listen to them wherever you stream your music. I'm sure Moom, too. You can stream wherever you stream music. But with, like, the artists that do have Bandcamps, I like to link the Bandcamps because I feel like that's a more direct way of supporting the artist. So go do that. Have fun. There are some live sessions from KEXP of Moom too that I did go to watch because I thought maybe I would hear a host say the name and I would have a better shot at saying it correctly. But instead, I just got to see a little glance behind the mic of what the band setup looks like, and I got to see they have like the piano that has a tube that you put the tube in your mouth and you play the piano. That is a part of their like band outfit. At least from, I think this was like an older KEXP session that I watched, but golly, so cool. Go out there, go have a fun Friday and listen. That's all for me today. I hope you have a great, safe rest of your weekend, and I will see y'all next week. Goodbye.